So, this person commented on a different video, not mine, on Hannah's video, and I don't know, but it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm sure they didn't mean anything disrespectful or anything like that, but I kind of feel like if we don't teach people, then no one will ever learn, you know? And, this person said, I'm just not buying into the fact that any of these children ever left or escaped. Speaking of the latter year before they were discovered, several other podcasts claim that they were left alone at times. Both parents out of the house. They could they could have just opened the door and ran out. And hearing that the oldest child was 29 and took this abuse with the others, not buying it. Okay, I'm just gonna stop right there. So, I know the oldest Turpin, Jennifer Turpin. The thing is that her parents were big compared to her. Like, I've seen her parents in court. Um, Jennifer was very malnourished, weak, so weak, like, and just so small framed and frail. Like, my hand could go around her wrist and still have room for more fingers. And it's frustrating when people kind of blame the victims. Like, that's what you're doing. You're blaming the victims for not getting help, and that's in itself, that's very, like, disrespectful. And you should never say these things, or even really, I don't know, even voice these things. Like, if you ever think this way, like, keep it to yourself, because in the long run it does hurt people. Speaking from a rape victim, like when people say, why didn't you scream, why didn't you yell, why didn't you do something, like, that's victim blaming. Anyways, and what I was getting to is that, yes, Jennifer was very small, frail, and her parents could easily just pick her up and throw her across the room over their heads. Like, that's how small Jennifer was. And the fact that she took, and just the fact that this person's pointing out that she took, like, the abuse with the other kids, like, yeah, because she was the first one to be abused. And not only that, but I mean, there are a lot of, like, mental chains. If you've never been in a situation you where you had to stay, or had to, if you've never been in a situation like this, then you have no room to talk. And I understand that I haven't been in a situation exactly like this either, but I've been in a similar situation. And the fact that this person's calling her out on that is kind of heartbreaking here. But she first of all, she was very malnourished. She only weighed, like, I think 80 something pounds, 90 something pounds when they were rescued. She looked like she was, like, a teenager, probably like 14, 15, or 16. And she was very small. And yeah, they were left alone a lot, but that's only because the parents realized that these mental chains on them were too strong. Were strong enough to keep them there. Plus, they weren't stupid. They knew that if they were to escape, how would they survive on their own? Like, yeah, they were on their own, but their parents provided them with quote unquote food, which, was barely any, if anything. Um, I mean, they knew that they didn't know the outside world that well, but they knew that, that wouldn't have been able to really survive on their own, even if they did run away. And if they even got help, like they were afraid to even get help for a long time because of the fact that the parents would tell them that if they got arrested, then the older kids would get arrested too, because the parents would force the older children to participate in abusing their brothers and sisters. Um, and I don't know. It's just it's a lot to take in just from those few sentences alone, you know. Anyways, where was I? Oh, and then the reason why Jennifer never, I mean, she did run away, you know, and I think she ran away twice. Or at least tried to. However, I might be wrong about the twice, whatever. But however, the reason why she stayed was mostly because she knew that she wouldn't be able to survive on her own, but also because the love for her siblings was stronger than the fear of her parents. You know, like she would rather take the abuse and stay there with her siblings because she knew that if it were up to her parents, like they could have killed, one of them. So it's I don't know. Don't ever ask these questions. That's all I'm coming. That's all I'm saying. Um, and now this person says, um, basically after like how he doesn't believe it, not buying it. Here's what I would have done a lot sooner. Gather up 6 to 8 of the oldest ones. Wait for the parents to come home. Ambush mom and dad. Take them down to the floor and then tie them up. Take the other children outside, just breathe. Mom, outside and just breathe. Mom smacks and tosses around one of the children, ambush her, and put her in her place. Shove mom and dad into the bathroom, barricade the door. Okay, hold on. So, the thing is that this person's, like, saying, like, doing all this, like, saying all this, basically just giving scenarios and then saying how he would have done it. That's not how it works. Like, it's a lot deeper than that. Plus, they were small. Like, they were very small, and their parents, and I'm not trying to exaggerate or anything, but their parents were monsters and could easily take them down. Plus, the fear of doing that and getting overpowered and getting in trouble and beaten and probably killed. Like, I know Jennifer had fears about that, and you cannot say this is what I would have done because you've never been in that situation, and these children have been abused like most of their lives, and it's easy to say what you could do in a situation like this than actually doing it. And I feel like this person is just, I don't know if they're trolling or what, but it doesn't seem like they're using their brain. Using it logically, I mean. Like, I'm not saying they're stupid, because they're not. They're trying to make some valid points. But what I am saying is that if you haven't been in a situation like this where you're terrified for your life, it is hard for you to work up the courage to even attempt to do something like this, let alone thinking about it, And I feel like a lot of people might look at the situation from the outside and think this is what I would have done. But it's you don't know because you weren't in that situation, like, yeah, and you think about it, this is what I would have done, but if you were in that situation, you probably wouldn't do the thing that you're claiming you would. Anyways, so the person says where was I? They were, or sorry, there are many ways to subdue to other people. Force, force mom and dad to clean up their house and take out a few bags of trash, one on each given trash day pickup, or one on each given trash day pickup. If you're going to keep us locked up here, we need to at least, no, we need you to at least get rid of all this crap. The air out to and air out the house. Blah blah blah. Sorry, I'm reading, but I'm not reading. I'm skimming through, so that's why I don't know. Plus, I don't really feel comfortable reading out loud. But I'm just reading out loud because I don't know. If you want to read it for yourself, like there'll be a screenshot in the end. Anyways, and air out the house. Make their lives miserable. Stand up for yourselves. Okay, that line alone really makes me angry because, I mean, you can't tell someone to stand up for themselves when you haven't been through this situation. Like, how many times do I have to say that? This is so hard to read without getting upset. And I'm trying to stay neutral, but it's kind of hard. Just because I actually know the Turpins, and I know that they are all very courageous, strong, independent, working people that function in society pretty normally, like when I met them, I would have never guessed that they've been through something like this, and the fact that someone says stand up for yourself, that feels a little like feels like blame to me, like they're blaming them for what happened to them. Like I know that that's probably not what they're trying to say, but it just comes off that way or comes across that way. Like you're telling them that they should have stood up for themselves and none of this would have ever happened. Yeah. Okay, anyways. Once I have them on the floor, I would have shaved their heads. Okay. And then this is when was my reply. You can read that too if you want, but hold on. I'm just gonna. Yeah, and you can pause it if you want, but yeah. One thing I want to state just really quick is please, please do not attack this person. I feel like their intentions were good, but the way it came across was just not okay. I'm sure that they didn't mean to, blame anyone. So please do not attack this person.